All right. All right. So welcome everyone to today's Thursday coaching calls. And well, for today's session, we may not have Sterling, but if you guys can actually guess where he's at right now, just drop it in the chat box and we're going to be sharing it with you. But one thing's for sure, we're going to enjoy today's or tonight's coaching call because we are going to have an actual case study courtesy of our very own co-mentee, Jason Malabuti. And we're going to talk about it. So, Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So you guys, I started my career back in 2015. I started off as an accountant, CPA. Quickly realized that that was not for me. 2018, I got caught with the real estate bug, and I was studying real estate for a whole year. 2019, I started to buy properties in Indianapolis, Indiana. They were all single family homes. 2020, I decided that I want to transition from single family to multi-family, and that's when I started to work with my mentor, as you guys know, Sterling White. And then 2021, that's when I really bet on myself. I started to sell all my single family homes, and then I quit my accounting job finally, and then so that I could focus 100% on the multi-family side of the business.
Nice. Thanks for sharing that, Jason. So, this one actually was your last single family, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So, just curious, why transition from single to multi?
Well, it's just much easier to scale, right? Because when I was in single family, I was doing the BRRRR method, which stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. So my experience was that it takes you 6 months for you to get your capital back and for you to be able to reinvest it into another property. And then I started to think to myself, okay, if I'm spending this much time on just one door, why not think bigger? Because it takes that same amount of time to to work on a one door deal as it does for a 10 doors, 20 doors, 100 doors deal. So it's all about being efficient with your time, and also it's much easier to scale.
Got it. And just so everyone knows, Jason is actually in California and he's investing in Indianapolis, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So why Indy, Jason?
so so when I first got into real estate, I was looking into Orlando, Florida, and I actually built a team out there in Orlando. I traveled there. I looked at a couple single families. I looked at some duplexes, and I just could not get the numbers to work. So I went back to California feeling defeated. I went on YouTube and I typed in best cash flowing markets. And then I saw that Indianapolis was one of the best cash flowing markets at the time in 2019. So, and then it's funny because I was just in Indianapolis a couple of months prior because my brother lives out in Indianapolis. So, however, when I was visiting my brother, real estate was the last thing on my mind when I was in Indianapolis. So it's pretty interesting how things go full circle. And then when I started to look more into the market of Indianapolis, that's when I started to see, strong population growth, strong job growth, a very diverse economy. You have Eli Lilly, which is a big pharmaceutical company, which is the same company that my brother works at. You have Rolls Royce. You have a whole bunch of tech companies in Indianapolis. You have the Indianapolis Colts. You have the Pacers. So it's very diverse.
And now you have Jason Malabuti LLC in there pending, right?
It's actually Malabuti properties and how you guys can remember that is first you get the moolah, then you get the booty, right?
Yeah, that's a very creative way of remembering it. But
Yes.
uh, yeah, I just wanted to do some shout outs for today's coaching call. We have Anthony, we have Mike, Pablo, Rafael, and Dex. So if you guys any questions, and also if you can guess where Sterling's at today, drop it in the chat and we'll be revealing it later. All right. So Jason, we can go ahead and get started on the sharing of the screen
Sure.
and we'll talk about this very interesting trans-valued Tabor deal. Tabor,
Tabor. Tabor.
Tabor. Okay, let's do it.
Okay, you guys, so this is 1519 East Tabor Street. This is in Indianapolis, Indiana. This is in a neighborhood called Bean Creek, which is a solid C neighborhood. And this is what the property looked like when I first bought it. And as you guys can see, it looked like a straight uh, trap house. It looked like a drug house when I first bought this property back in 2019.
Was it proven it is or was it not?
I I don't know. However, I know that one of my properties used to be a drug house prior to me buying it and fixing it
Oh,
up.
all right. So that's very interesting. How are
Mm.
you able to find this deal, Jason?
So this one came through a broker. Yeah, this one came through a broker, which I researched and I interviewed when I first was starting on that single family space.
So from California, you got connected with a broker in Indy through Google search?
So you guys, if you guys are just starting out in investing out of state, I would highly recommend that you guys check out the book by Robert Greene, which is the host of the Bigger Pockets podcast. It's called The Out of State Investor, and maybe they can pull it up for us. And that is such a helpful book on how I built a team wherever I decide to invest in. So to make the very long story short, you guys, how you guys find a good broker on the real estate, on the single family side, is you go to Zillow.com and then you see which agent has the best reviews and the most reviews, and then you interview them one by one, and then you get references from them, and also you ask about them on Bigger Pockets as well. So that's how I got my agent, and this was the condition of the property when we first bought it. As you can see, the floors were very messed up. You could see that the front lawn was not visually appealing at all. So, so, so this is so as you guys could see in November of 2019, it was listed, and actually another buyer actually put it under contract for $49,000. But then the buyer actually backed out last minute. So I was able to negotiate it down to $42,000. And the reason for that is because, first of all, since the other buyer backed out, I'm sure that the seller was starting to panic, so he was more flexible on the negotiations. And also, since I was coming in with all cash and I was closing quickly, I think I closed in like 10 days, 14 days, something like that. So I was able to negotiate a lower price.
Got it. So while the property was actually under contract, that's you've already submitted your letter of intent, correct?
Um, from my memory, I was a backup buyer, and then I got a call from my agent telling me that the buyer backed out, and if I was still interested, that we could proceed with the deal. So I
Right.
told him yes, but I wanted it for $40,000. So the seller countered and said 42. So I said, okay, I'll take it at 42,000.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll do a shout out for you, Deep. Hey there, great to see you, Deep. Yes, we'll catch up with you later.
Okay.
Enjoy and yeah, take care.
Okay. Okay, you guys. So there were so many learning points from this deal. Okay. The first thing is that brokers will say anything to make the deal sell. So, for example, they'll say stuff like, you can easily add another bedroom to increase the rent. They will say that you can easily get a $110,000 ARV. And for those who doesn't know what's an ARV, that stands for after repair value. Okay, so he said that we could get a $110,000 ARV, but in reality, I quickly learned that it was actually more like 80 to 85,000. And lastly, brokers will always say something like he would not push anything to you that he would not buy himself. Right? So he tries to make you feel comfortable in his sale. So, but even though I was still green behind the ears back then, I was still smart enough to network and connect with other more experienced investors. And what I learned was that if you add another bedroom, that's just going to add more risk to the deal because now you're playing with the rehab cost. And once you start opening up walls, then you don't know what else you're going to discover. And that could really inflate the rehab cost more. And also, the ARV depends on the comp's finish. For example, I can guarantee you guys that the $110,000 ARV has a much nicer finish than my properties. And I'm sure that they spent more money on the rehab. Okay. And one of the biggest things, you guys, is that if I knew what I know today, I would have gone direct to owner back then. And the reason for that is because you can just get better deals by you building a relationship with the seller, right?
With
And
your
that's,
ex- Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, Jason. So with your experience, you were able to deal with, agents, and now you're actually doing the outreach direct to owner. Why direct to owner besides of course, the price point and as much as you can get out of it? For those that are actually not so comfortable doing the outreach, specifically with cold calling, what would you advise to them?
I mean, there's really no way around it because even if you go with the broker route, you're still gonna have to follow up with them because they are very busy themselves. For example, starting today, I made a decision that we are gonna go both direct to owner and use brokers because with everything that's happening with the interest rates, people are freaking out. So I'm seeing this as an opportunity to get more deals. So that's why I'm using brokers right now as well. So I'm still having to cold call brokers, follow up with I mean with brokers. So it's all the same thing, you guys. So you're gonna have to get over your fear of talking to people, or you're gonna have to join a team and you add value in another way. For example, underwriting, asset management, if you don't like talking to people. Okay.
I agree.
And then lastly, you guys, is that I overlooked major red flags in the inspection report. And it could have really destroyed me. Uh, and I'll show you guys why. Okay. So here are some of the major red flags that that I missed out on the inspection report. And I would say that one of the biggest things is right here. It says number 6, active knob and tube wiring. When I first read that, I said, that doesn't sound too bad. It doesn't sound like a foundation issue. So I just skipped that, But later on, I found out that knob and tube for a single family house, that would cost you $12,000 to $15,000 to fix. So I would say that the biggest lesson learned is that when you're looking at inspection reports, it doesn't matter if you are in single family or in multifamily. It's important for us to be in constant rapport with the inspector so that they could tell us which ones of these are urgent red flags and which one of these can we hold off on for now and save money on. Okay. Okay, guys. So as you guys can see, I spent $35,000 on the rehab. So 42,000, which is the acquisition, plus 35,000 cash equals $77,000. $77,000 in the hole for this property. And remember that your goal in the bird method is to be all in at 75% or less of the ARV. And the reason for that is because you want to get all your capital out so that you could reinvest it into another property. Okay.
Right. So just to really hone in on that, 70% of what Jason is referring to is the total of the purchase price plus the rehab. You get 70% of it, and that would be your target in terms of doing the BRRRR strategy to be
So
able to execute and refinance on the next one.
so I want to clarify that a little bit better. So what I'm saying is you want to get 75% of the ARV in your purchase price and your rehab cost has to be within that 75%. So for example, if let's say your ARV is 100,000, 75% of 100,000 is $75,000. So then that means that you want to spend no more than $75,000 on the purchase and the rehab so that you can get all that cash back after you refinance. Okay.
Got it.
Okay, you guys. So here are after pictures of the property after we have rehabbed it. As you guys can see, we put in vinyl plank floors. We put in two-tone paint scheme. we cleaned up the the front lawn, we fixed the front stairs, we painted the exterior. So now it does not look like a trap house anymore. All right. It looks like a safe house that a nice family could live in now. So we have raised the rent in year one to $825. Then year two, we raised it up again to $850. Okay, you guys, here is the fun part when I buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. So before you refinance, you're gonna have to get an appraisal to see how much is your property worth, how much is the ARV. Remember, you guys, we knew coming in that our ARV is gonna be about $80,000. That's what my property manager said. That's what other investors told me. So we are targeting 80,000 because we know that $110,000 is just far fetched, and we're not going to hit that because of the finishes. So 80,000 is our goal. Okay. So the first time that we got this property appraised, it came in at $56,000. So, so my stomach sunk to the floor because I thought that I just lost $21,000, and I felt like I was a loser. But I did not give up. I actually challenged the appraisal to get a second appraisal. And when the second appraisal came back, it came back higher, but it was still low. It came back at $63,000. And now I am mad. I'm heated, right? Because I'm still losing money. And that's the one thing about me is I don't like losing money. So what did I do? Did I give up? No, I did not give up. I actually went to another lender from a local bank, and he got me better rates, and he got me a new appraiser. And when that appraisal came back, it came back at $85,000, which is $5,000 more than our target of $80,000. So, so the whole lesson here, you guys, is to never give up, and it doesn't matter if it's real estate business or if it's your other parts of your life, right? Never take no for an answer. Remember, you guys, if if one person says no, find somebody else who's gonna say yes.
All
Okay?
right. I thought you're gonna say keep swiping left.
No.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, I just
Oh,
wanted to go back to that, Jason. So this one is well, we got a question from Mike. So how far in between the appraisals were from 56 to 63 to 85?
that is a good question. So I think that this one was in March. 2021. No, I think this was 1 or 2 months after, and then I think that this was 2 or 3 months after the 63 because they told me that you had to wait a couple months for you to get another appraisal.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Okay, so
And now we got the appraisal,
yes,
the price
so
that we want.
yes, so I was happy. I got that appraisal. I boosted up the rent, and I thought that that was that, and I thought that we are done with the hard part of this deal. But to my surprise, the fun only begun because when it was time for me to say I'm done with single family, I'm now focusing on multifamily. Let me sell this property. Boy, that made me lose the remaining hair that I had because we had a challenge selling this property, right? Because we listed this property for $85,000, but we were getting cash offers for more than our asking price. We were getting 90, 95, $100,000 cash. But when they saw our inspection report, people were backing out of the deal when they started seeing knob and tube, foundation, stuff like that. And then actually one of the buyers countered after their inspection and they requested a $28,000 credit. And when I saw that email, you guys, I told them, well, we'll keep this PG-13. I told them, no, no, you're not getting no $28,000 credit. So, so once again, you guys, what did I do? Did I give up? No, I did not. I pulled the listing off the market, and then I talked to my network. I talked to my friend who's more bullish when it comes to single family properties. And I was honest with them. I told them, hey, here is all the issues with the property. You have not been through. It's going to cost you about $12,000 to fix. There's some foundation stuff. Here's the inspection report. Please review it and tell me if this is something that would interest you. So, so I get done following up with him, and then finally he said, "Yes, I'm interested as long as the sewer line is okay." So, so we did a scope of the sewer line. Thank God, everything came back great with the sewer line. And on March 2022, I got my $85,000. And I was so happy, yo, because I could say that I've never lost money in real estate. I've broken even in real estate deals. I made money, but I've never lost money. And I could say that I've learned more from the deals that I've broken even than the ones that I have made money from. Okay.
Definitely tuition pays. So earlier it was just a drawing of you holding that, you know.
Yes,
Now
and
it's real.
yes, and this is a real life picture of me on a plane going to a Christian mingles trip. Okay,
Oh.
okay,
So is
so
that right after you got paid for
yes,
$85,000?
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Okay, guys. So if you guys want to learn more about me, then you guys can find out more about me from my website, which is www.jasonmalabuti.com. You can find my podcast, blog, social media, and even a sample deal there. And once again, you guys, we are looking in the Indianapolis and Kansas City markets. We're looking for 8 to 50 units. That's in a B or C plus neighborhood. Okay, you guys. So does anybody have any questions for me?
I think we got a couple of questions from Mike. Mike, you can go ahead and mute yourself.
Oh yeah, so one of the questions was how was your approach direct to owners? And if they did sign up with a realtor, how would you handle that?
Yeah. So what I started doing, you guys, and this is nothing political, but I'm really reading this book by Donald Trump, which is about negotiations. And something that he stresses is that building a relationship is more important than the actual deal. And Grant Cardone says the same thing as well. So so I really try and listen, and I try to see what does the other side want, and mm, what can I do to make sure that they feel satisfied. And um, if they really don't want to go direct to owner, if they really want to go with a broker, then I will actually um connect them with a preferred broker of mine, um because at least that will strengthen not only our relationship between me and the seller, but also me and the broker, so that we could do future deals as well.
Nice. That's actually a very clever way. And just really at this business and just like any other businesses that are out there, it's all about building relationships and partnerships. We just have to, we can't do it all alone. And that being said, just so you guys know, Jason and one other person in this call, Dex,
That
is spearheading Multifamily Masters LA chapter. So if you guys wanted to connect with them, there you go. Hey, Dex. And
Hey, I'm in the dark. Let me lighten up.
yeah, tell us tell us about your next event. When is it gonna be?
Sure, no problem. Our next event is May 25th, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have in Charles Seaman, and he'll be doing a live underwriting and case study. You can find us up on meetup.com or either on one of our social media handles. I'm at D Harris Group on IG, and I believe Jason's at Jason Malabute. Get the moolah before you get the booty.
Yeah.
And you can find the information there, or if not, y'all can contact us during the Slack channel, and we'll send over the link.
Sure.
Beautiful, beautiful. And yeah, the last one that they had, I think that was last week. It was just a blast. So you guys,
Yeah.
if you wanted to join the next one, it's free anyway. So yeah, you're invited. As well as another shout out to Rafael. Rafael is also like doing a partnership as the director of acquisitions for, I forgot the name of the company. Who were your partners, Rafael?
You're talking about George and Elevate?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah. And yeah, this is just the you know the power of being connected with other people and really just building relationships. And I just couldn't I just couldn't be so proud of you guys in terms of just being out there, you know. But yeah,
Hey,
other than that, yes. I'm sorry, yeah,
hey,
you're gonna say
Jason.
something?
Yeah, last question, Jason. I probably missed it because I was kind of late to jump in. But how was your financing? Like, did you use hard money lenders, private money, or just your cash? How
Yeah.
was the financing?
Yeah. For this particular deal, I actually saved enough money to pay for this property cash.
And moving forward, would you be trying to leverage on hard money lenders, or probably just
So, 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 based on the SEC rules, I cannot solicit investors publicly, but what I could say is that we can definitely jump on a call, and then I could talk to you more about my plan on on a multifamily investing.
Nice, nice. Yes, Dex. I think
Oh
Dex
no,
is waiting.
no, I didn't mean it. I was playing around my phone and raised
Oh,
my hand by accident.
okay. But I think Rafael got a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a question for Jason. Like that house that you had, I mean, it sounds like you had quite a learning experience on that. So based off of that experience, how would you going over into the multifamily, how are you gonna take your experience from that and then convert it over to the multifamily? Because you're gonna be dealing with, larger sums of money. It's not gonna be, how are you gonna transfer that over?
Yeah. So the only difference is that there are more zeros in the end. That's the biggest difference. However, all of the fundamentals are still the same. Um, um for, for example, um, if you are going to be using brokers, you should be taking their word with a grain of salt.
Mhm.
Um, always get the opinion of other investors and also other team members about the deal so that you can have different perspectives about the deal. Another thing that I learned is to have a solid dialogue, have a solid rapport with your inspector so that you know what are serious red flags and which ones can be pushed off until later.
No, yeah, it definitely makes sense. And the big thing is like having a team together, right? Just depends where you're investing. You got your contractor and just somebody you trust. And now you have the group, and now you and Dex, have that group going on too. I mean, that's like branching out and actually doing, more commas, more zeros, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Congrats on that again, Dexter and Jason.
Thank you very much, Raphael. We really appreciate the support.
It was really good, man. I can't wait to the next one because I've been, me underwriting.
Yeah.
I need to get some more insight on that, and I know he's pretty good at it as well.
You guys are going to learn a lot. That much I can guarantee.
Yep, appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I can imagine Jason actually walking through the property and saying, are there any active um knob and tube wiring issues in here?
Yeah.
I think that would be the person that he would be
Well,
checking in and walking.
when you are in the multifamily, uh, your biggest concern is going to be aluminum wiring, especially if the property was built in the 1970s, because that's when aluminum wiring became popular, was in the 1970s, and aluminum wiring could be a problem because it's a fire hazard, and also sometimes you cannot get insurance coverage if it's aluminum wiring, and um I heard that it could cost you around $750 to $1,000 per unit to fix the aluminum wiring.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
Right. I believe that company is Union Pacific that did the aluminum wiring back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm not for sure. I got to check my notes. But I just want to mention Charles. He does provide a Saturday class, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Saturday, and he underwrites live deals, at least 2 to 2.5 hours, and he go over any and every question you ask, and he also stress tests.
Mm-hmm.
He used Michael Blank, the deal syndicator, the deal syndicator underwriting software. That's what he used.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Blank.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for sharing that, Dex. And anyone who would want to join,
You're welcome.
just message Dex or Jason, or just really get connected with anyone in the group. And yeah, any other questions, you guys? No questions?
I don't have a question, but I'm gonna put a small little win that the team that I'm working with submitted another offer on the 271 unit for like 34 million.
Wow.
So I'm looking at a 1% finder fee. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
We'll do this. All of
Fingers
us.
crossed. Fingers crossed. Yep. So when everything go through, I'll do another presentation on it.
Absolutely. We're very excited and looking forward to that, Dex. And yeah,
Thank
you
you.
guys just keep being awesome. And I appreciate Jason for always being open to sharing his story with us. And I just, it's been a while. I mean, it's been years that we're all working together, and I can see how really the progress that you made from, from when we get started up to this point, and not only on the business side, but also on the personal, I would say, development side of things, and how you're handling your team, working with your teammates, hiring your team and everything. And yeah, I just couldn't be so proud of not just you, but also Dex, Rafael, Mike, and also Anthony, and everyone else who's going to be watching this replay. You guys are awesome. So yeah. Any final words, Jason?
Again, you guys, just a final lesson is just never to give up, right? And also never accept no for an answer. Especially if you are responsible for other people's money. They don't want to hear excuses. They want to hear how you fixed whatever problem that you are facing.
Absolutely. So if they say no, then just keep swiping left and right, right?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, we enjoyed this. Tonight's call and presentation, Jason. Great job. We'll see you again next week. So good night, everyone. Bye, guys.